Hi guys, Jay Smith here. How hard is it to actually hit 300 yards? Now, I've got my driver here, it's set at 9 degrees, and I am going to try and hit 300 yards in the slowest speed possible, just to see how fast you do really have to swing to hit 300 yards. Now, we're not talking 300 yards carry, we are talking about can you hit 300 yards? So we are talking about a 270, maybe a 280 carry, bounce, bounce and roll. There you go. I'm gonna get the green set out there at 300 yards. I'm gonna try and remember to change data sets because I'm not always the best at doing that. And I'm just gonna try and do that. So the tricky thing is I normally swing about 110, 111 miles an hour, and I have got obviously down to AT, no pun intended, my body synchronization to make sure body, hands, all that lot works at that speed so I can deliver a somewhat consistent delivery. Changing speeds, changing that somewhat. So yeah, this might take me a few goes. But so at the end, we're going to try and do a fade, stroke slice, but fade. Yep, fade. Then hit a straight shot as best as we can, because it's not always the easiest thing to do with obviously a driver. And then a draw to see how hard you actually have to hit it, how much ball speed and all this lot you really need to hit that magic 300 yards. Right, there's a 300 on the fade. Let's now go do the straight ball and see how easy that one is. That's baby draw. Oh, that's straight away longer. That was close. Oh yeah, definitely. Right, so that's the straight one done. Let's go give the draw a go. Ample. Right, there's my draw one done. Let's go have a look at the editing PC, look at the numbers and see just how efficient the fade, the straight-ish and the draw is at hitting that magical 300 yards. So there is no prizes in guessing that the fade is the most inefficient one of the three. But I've got three to show you, and they're a mixture of three, and I've also got a special one at the end to show you or showcase one specific thing. So let's go quickly have a look at the fade. And if we have a look at the fade here, the one I captured here was basically 110 club head speed, 6.6 path across and 3.1 open. That has got 15 degrees, 14.8 degrees of tilt axis on that golf ball to the right. That is curving. That is definitely curving. 2 mil high, 3 mil toe, decent strike, which means it's launching at 12.3 and spinning at 2.3. That is good for a heavy fade. Now, bear in mind, my driver is a low spin driver. Set at 9 degrees, it spins the golf ball pretty low anyway. So if you're not using a low spin driver and you're swinging like this, 6.6 across with 3.1 open, spin will be definitely impairing the golf ball's travels to 300 yards, far more than this one is. But yeah, that's the benefit of having a low spin driver, especially when it comes to the fade. But yeah, 276 carry and 301, it just made it. It's 160 ball speed and 110 miles an hour. So that's no surprise at all in seeing that you have to swing at least 110 miles an hour with a heavy fade to be able to get the golf ball to 300 yards. Look at the flight, you can see that is a lovely curvature. That I'm not quite sure what you would call, but as I said, I would distinctly see that as a heavy fade. Let's have a look at the straight one. Now the straight one was the hardest of them all to hit. Obviously, because trying to hit an absolutely perfect straight ball when you've got some form of tilt axis on there, either through face to path differences or just gear effect from strike, is very, very hard to get a perfectly straight ball. So I tried to get I kind of give myself a number in my head that I wanted to hit 300 yards, but the tilt axis couldn't be any more than 5 degrees either way. So I got one at 5 degrees on the dot. I'm taking that as a win. Again, we'll look at the flight afterwards, but basically it was a tiny curvature draw wise. So path was 1 degree across and 1.6 open, but because I hit it 6 mil high and 10 mil toe, it geared it back to draw. So that technically should fade, but because of the strike, gear effect, again, remember this is a low spin driver and also quite an unforgiving-ish low spin driver, as all low spin drivers are more unforgiving than, say, heavy MOI drivers or high MOI drivers. The gear effect comes from strike difference, and so that turned that slight fade into a slight draw, 5 degrees. That's from 104.7 club head speed, so basically 105 miles an hour, giving you a ball speed of 150.6. 312 total, 278 carry. That's because it's launching at 16.3 degrees and spinning at just under 1500. Now that is borderline of keeping the ball up in the air. So depending on what speed you swing and what ball speed you have, what launch angle you've got, spin changes all the time when it comes to its absolute optimized amount. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be dropping the spin too much more on this to gain a bit more. I mean, it's 278, it's absolutely good, and 312. That low spin in flight going in like a missile, that's doing well, but I am hitting 7.7 up. Yeah, we're trying to maximize distance here with the slowest speed possible, so it's 105 miles an hour. And if you look at that flight, that is a little baby draw, but I mean, it's fairly straight. I'm hitting it 312, guys, give me a break. So let's look at the draw. So straight away, yes, I've got 105 miles an hour and 153 ball speed, so a slightly better efficiency, but bear in mind I also hit it 2 mil high, 5 mil toe on the strike, so it's a bit better strike. The interesting thing on that, well, obviously it's 2 mil toe, 5 mil toe, 2 mil high. My toe up is by basically 7 degrees. It's up at 7 degrees. So even though my path is 7.5 degrees in to out, remember this is the draw, and my face is basically 0 to it, because of the fact that I've got 18 degrees of loft delivered, and the fact I'm 2 mil high and 5 mil toe, and the lie of the golf club, the toe is up by 7 degrees, which makes the loft look left. All that 18 degrees is making it look left. So far more left or close to path than what that 0.3 face angle would show. That's why it's drawing. That is definitely why it's drawing. So it's going 270 and 303 from 153 miles an hour ball speed and 105.1 club head speed. So within reason, when it comes to the straight and also draw, there is not too much in it when it comes to the which one will go further. Bear in mind, with tilt axis comes a problem with curvature. When it comes to tilt axis going the other way, generally speaking, when you're talking about fade, it's creating more spin by creating a fade, because when you open the face, obviously potentially depending on how you open the face, but effectively if you open the face through shaft axis twist, you increase the loft, which increases spin. When you do it the other way, you are closing the face down. If you close the face down too much, obviously then you have a less loft, which means tilt axis gets more for the same amount, which means you have a bigger curvature and it could fall out of the sky quicker and blah, 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 blah. It's that piece of string and how you would see it curving. If you get that 300 yard piece of string and bend it, you're still going 300 yards, but you're wasting curvature. So there is one here, as you see the flight, that is a distinct draw. Didn't quite get it back to target though. But the last one here is quite an interesting one. It's not ideal. Delivery was good, 0.3 from the inside and 0.6 open, so it's fairly straight delivery. I was swinging at 102.3, which is not quick at all. 148.4 ball speed. But because of how I hit it, and it was just so happened how I hit it, it was getting dangerously close to 300 yards, to 267 carry and 296. And the reason why it bounced and rolled a ton was purely because of the ball dynamics that I hit, because of strikes. Now, this is the important thing when it comes to understanding there's a difference between ultimate club required to, as in dynamics, to required to hit 300 yards, but then there's also ball efficiency. You can have an inefficient delivery or slightly inefficient delivery, but hit the ball on a certain part of the face, which then gears the golf ball to be more ball dynamic efficient. And this is what this one was. So I was launching at 15 degrees and spinning at 1600. Again, I wouldn't want to go much lower than that, but it does mean that with that ball going through the air, it is going forward and like a ballistic missile trajectory. As it's coming in, it's coming so shallow, it will chase down the fairway like you wouldn't believe. And that is still from a 12 mil toe, 3 mil low. And of course, the draw has come from the toe. I am hitting 8.8 up. I am long driving dynamics this. Doing this a few times, yeah, I did hit a load of shots where they just had no spin on them and they just fell out of the sky. So this is danger zone when it comes to pure distance from slow speed. But you can see I'm 4 yards off there from 102. Now, again, you're going to need at least 105 miles an hour clubhead speed to even really get to 300 yards. That is a known within reason. Not many people swing 105 miles an hour with a driver, and bearing in mind you are not going to hit your driver bang on every single time. You are going to need a little bit of wiggle room in there. So 105 miles an hour just won't cut it when it comes to your average. You are going to have to swing up at around about 108 to 110 to reliably roll it up to the 300 yard marker, and also obviously longer on your long ones. So if you fade it, yes, you are going to have to swing decidedly faster, generally speaking. When you come to drawing it, as long as it's not too heavy draw, if you heavy draw it, again, you have the same problem with curvature. But if you lightly draw it or straight ball it, even though the straight ball is most difficult, you've got the biggest and best chance of hitting that magical 300. But you have to do it when it comes to understanding correct ball dynamics. Club dynamics is one thing, getting the right ball dynamics is another. So, hope that's answered a few questions about exactly how easy or how hard it really is to hit 300 yards. Comment below, do you hit 300? Do your friends always say they hit 300 but never do? If you liked it, by all means, down the bottom there's a little thumbs up. If you could do that, that'd be great. Next to it is a subscribe button, it's a little red button, and it's totally free, and it helps the channel immensely. So, while you're there, little button next to it, down there, that's it, it's a little ding-a-ling bell button. If you click that one, it's a notification button. Basically, it lets you know next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.